Wow, this is a Gen Z question.
What is the opposite of tragedy?
I'm unstoppable. I'm a pusher with no brakes. Yeah, that one.
That's it. That's a theme song. Eric hit the nail on the head right there. And I appreciate Eric wherever he is. Really, that song is really, really, really great.
If TISA had a theme song, I don't have a musical ear.
Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Over 10 years ago, the founding director, Wanjiro Gikone, the founding coordinator, had this wonderful idea that we need more accountability. And of course, you can imagine that's a tall order sometimes because impunity seems to be the order of the day in these parts of the world. And we kept on reminding us, this is the dream, guys. The country can be better. Our people can be better. Our people can get better services. Our people can get better accountability. That first board that we set up was really, really, really inspiring because there were people who believed in this dream.
And we happened to have some space at Africog at the time. So she moved into an office at Africog and founded the CDF Accountability Project. And it grew from there. She then moved later, she then moved on later when they'd grown. And it grew into what we know today as the Institute for Social Accountability.
I smile sometimes when I see where we've come from as TISA and seeing the transition that has taken place, at least the transition from founder-led to an independent national director. But Shira was fantastic in just ensuring that she's let go, she's allowed the next national director to come in and do her thing, and that we have a stronger TISA today.
I think it was great working with Diana Gishengo as the executive director of TISA. She's a woman of courage, which is very rare, but I think she's also equally very intelligent. And her ability to articulate the issues on social accountability, her ability to say things that many people will not say and do so courageously, her ability to speak truth to power, I think is very encouraging. And I think she's best really placed within TISA to be that person that takes it to the next level with support of many of us in the sector.
The relationship between Bajeti Hub and TISA is a long one. Right from when TISA was actually the CDF project, accountability project, and Bajeti Hub was the international budget partnership, but also the fact that the staff who work in both organizations have worked in many things together, particularly matters devolution, when the constitution was being formulated. But over time, the role of Bajeti Hub has been to provide technical support. We've been part of campaigns together, whether you think about the accountability engagement with Parliament on different questions around public finance, and most recently on matters public debt.
The biggest concern for us was around debt, the fiscal space in the country, but also just the generation of public services, education, healthcare. But then at the same time, the government didn't seem to be paying attention to those issues. So we came together and started a program around it, and what we call now the Okol Chumi Coalition. So put together a lot of partners working on different areas, and we just came together and actually said, as Kenya, we can actually fund our budget if we could fight corruption, cut down on illicit financial flows, and then deal with making sure that the government was allocating resources in the right place. So TISA was the convener of all the actors who were interested into that. So they brought us together to lead on it. As Oxfam International, we played a part in partly also fundraising for the fundraising for some of those activities. But TISA really took the leadership on convening, on the thought leadership, on developing a strategic plan.
When it comes to governance and policy and advocacy work, you can't do it alone. We can't do it as Christian Aid, you can't do it as TISA. With that, we've been working on the small business, so small biz, big tax work, which we did with TISA, over a long time. We saw the results of that, and we were able to use that for work on the physical budgets, on the budget making process, working with the MCAs and the governors to be able to to address these issues. I'm glad we also worked on the IMF work and the study to understand how decisions made, at Treasury, at Parliament, at these, levels are affecting the common mwananchi. On the big tax, working with the informal sector, out in the Gikomba, out in the formal market, we saw the many issues that we are working. And this government, we had promised people, especially what we called the hustler at the time, that we will support their businesses. But we've seen with time that they are mostly the marginalized people, and yet it is the informal sector that is actually running this economy.
I've been raised in this market, but I first heard about TISA through MSEA. MSEA is the Micro, Small and Enterprise Authority, which it's a government institution that deals with the SMEs. So there was TISA wanted to engage traders, and since we are in the association with the MSEA, our association is registered under MSEA. They gave us the opportunity to meet with TISA and have the engagement with them at that time. TISA has given us a voice as traders, and one of the issues that was addressed was about the permits, because we used to pay the fire permit, we used to pay hygiene permit, we used to pay movement permit, we used to pay trade permits. But after that engagement, around last year, the government came up with a plan to harmonize some permits to one.
In my time here, one of the funniest was when street vendors in Nairobi requested that we support them to animate their voices against the Nairobi County government, against the unfair removal from the streets and their voices not being heard in that process. And I remember on the 13th November 2023, I was out there. I live around Kikuyu, and that night I literally depleted all the whistles and vuvuzelas in Kikuyu. It's the first time I got numbers of their supervisors, so I would ask the supervisor, I know you guys are about to close, call your supervisor on the other side, tell them to get me all their vuvuzelas and I'll pay and pick them after you. Of course, by the time I get to that place, they'll have closed, but I need all their vuvuzelas. And one of them asked me, why do you need vuvuzelas and whistles? What are you doing? And I told him, I can't tell you what we are doing. All I can tell you is that we are doing something beautiful for this country. Just watch the news tomorrow. And for sure, they called later, and the supervisor was like, I think the supervisor was, I didn't see you on the news. What was it that you guys were doing? That's the 14th of November, 2023. What were you guys up to? And I told them, what did you see in the news? And I just saw street vendors, a lot of vuvuzelas and whistles, but I didn't see you. What did you have to do with it? And I told him, we were behind the scenes, and that was the whole point. And he's like, wow, if that's what you do, I think it's beautiful. I think your work is more rewarding than my work here. And I told him, I think kazi ni kazi.
I joined this because of the lack of employment and opportunities in the government. This is after finishing my O-level exam. The next upgrade of the opportunities were minimal, so it was a personal decision to join the sector. I had TISA on early 2019. This is after watching a media segment in one of the mainstream media stations, whereby after seeing their good, best work they are doing, I got interested. So I went to the Google search. I searched the addresses where they are found. The level of awareness of the social accountability in the informal sector was very, very low. It was just only for the elected waheshimiwas. Personally, we have been trained as TOTs in all levels. When it comes to matters of the budget, matters of the social accountability, maybe we are making a follow-up for a certain project. So it means when I get back now to my grassroots association, I can be able to train the members whom we read to the level of raising our voices. Personally, I can be able to raise our voice in every platform, either locally, international. It doesn't depend who is in the presence on that platform. Maybe a VVIP. I've done a presentation in a VVIP platform and I had the confidence to start and address the congregants.
I was invited for the Women in Business, do you call it a conference, meeting, something. And going there, I came out with a lot of information. Kumbe, I can apply for, do you call it a waiver, the PWDs. And I learned it through a lady called Rosalia who was working at TISA at that time. So me, I followed up. Now I have my certificate. So that is a year for me. I no longer pay for licenses. And then other engagements, now I'm informed. I know, honestly, I never used to consider myself a PWD, ever. Because I used to feel like I can do everything. Me going to a lot of TISA meetings has shaped my thinking, awareness. Now I know a lot of things. If you know the way around here, I am the brain person. But it's stuff I learned from TISA.
We have also been able to know how to follow the budget making process through the capacity building through TISA.
Work that we've been having through the Alliance, especially the 21 of us who are part of the TUNU project, we've been empowered through this particular engagement. I came from a school of thought where I believe that engaging government was through the streets. Over time, I've realized that there's also another avenue that looked soft, but very effective. So today, I'm at a place where I know how I can draft memorandums. I can call engagement where we have breakfast meetings with the other duty bearers, whether at the county assembly level, committee level in the county assembly, respective duty bearers, also within other spaces that are also part of whether climate change, health, or other levels in which I also engage. So I think now the work in which we do is now realizing better change, but the approach has been different.
Since we started the program of TUNU, Tupigane na Ufisadi, whereby it entails issues on anti-corruption, we have several achievements and successes. One is the trainings. The organizations, because we have selected organizations from all the sub-counties of Makueni, all those seafood societies which has been trained, they have their secretariat and they have their networks. So you'll find that TISA has enhanced us to reach the whole county through good governance issues and advocacy issues.
Our interaction with TISA runs about 2 years back, where TISA had to come in and help us revamp some of the activities that we had as a department, as a directorate. One of these particular activities is the process of engaging the public, that's public participation. And then one key aspect of public participation is how now we get feedback from the people. And we understand as a government, as a county, that sometimes we may not meet the expectations of the people, and therefore people are bound now to come to us and probably bring up some grievances, complaints. And that is also an area that TISA has helped us in trying to revamp our GRM structure to help us serve the people better.
Our work with TISA and our partners led us to be the recipients of the NGO Award 2024 for being the best NGO in human rights and good governance. So we dedicate this to TISA and our other partners. We had a challenge where the County Assembly had passed a legislation in 2016 where all land in Kiambu had actually been set to be rateable. Everyone was supposed to pay land rates on freehold land, and this is something that communities felt is an injustice, a social injustice, and we took up that matter. And none other than the executive director of TISA came to actually join us in a demonstration in Kiambu, where we went to the Kiambu County Assembly.
The youth, and especially student leaders and students generally, the student population generally, has a key role to play in driving governance matters, especially when we talk about public finance. Do we provide the youth with opportunities to engage with key stakeholders? And I like that TISA does this, especially when we had the debt monitor program, where we came out of that session better equipped to actually understand, okay, this is the role of the Office of the Controller of Budget. This is the role of the Office of the Auditor General in these processes.
In the next 10 years, I foresee TISA will be really the wananchi government. It will be the wananchi government, and why I say government is people will resource TISA, and they will set priorities for TISA for what it must demand from government. I foresee a TISA that is funded by the people, a TISA that becomes a membership organization with several organizations. I don't anticipate that we'll open offices in every county, but I know we will have forms of TISA, okay? Affiliates that then become part of the movement. The things that we stand for will find their way and space in very many universities. They will be taught, they will be studied. We will be more respected by Parliament and the judiciary.
I believe that when history is written, TISA's name will be there.